Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're strapping on our boots and playing Garden Detective. We're investigating a super frustrating mystery that plagues so many growers. While your previously healthy plant's leaves are suddenly curling up, turning yellow, and completely halting their fruit production. We're going to break down the clues, identify the suspects, and teach you how to read exactly what your plants are trying to tell you. Let's kick things off with a brilliantly relatable quote from Sarah Dodd, a certified master gardener. She says, "Before you panic or blame your neighbor's weed whacker, well, take a breath. It's so easy to jump to wild conclusions when our beloved garden starts looking a bit distorted, right? But curling leaves are a mystery we need to properly investigate before we just indiscriminately spray chemicals or, angrily march over to confront the neighbors." Just look at the visual evidence from our crime scene here. You've got stunted growth and bizarre twisting happening, which looks completely sickly and leathery when you compare it directly to a vibrant, healthy green plant. When you see this level of distortion in your own garden, it's a massive signal that something is seriously interfering with the plant's normal growth. But the million-dollar question is, what?
Section 1. The Disease Circle. Framing our investigation.
To crack this case, we have to divide our potential suspects into two distinct camps, using what plant experts call the disease circle model. On one side, we have biotic factors. Those are the living organisms. On the other side, abiotic factors, which are non-living environmental stressors. We absolutely have to make this distinction. Otherwise, we might accidentally try to treat a simple watering problem with a heavy-duty chemical spray, which literally won't help and could actually make things way worse. So how do these two sides actually break down? Well, biotic stressors are your infectious agents. Think fungi, bacteria, viruses, nematodes, and insects that directly attack the plant. Abiotic stressors, on the other hand, are strictly environmental. We're talking drought, frost, poor drainage, nutrient imbalances, or even chemical injury. As a general rule of thumb, you should always try to rule out the abiotic, non-living causes first. Why? Because they're usually much easier to correct, they don't spread from plant to plant like a cold, and fixing them doesn't require any complex treatments. For example, let's look at how abiotic stress shows up in a highly sensitive plant like a tomato. If you see the older leaves rolling upward and they feel a bit leathery but they're still green, that's often just physiological leaf roll. It's simply the plant's natural defense mechanism against hot, dry weather to conserve water. It's basically saying, hey, I'm hot. But if you see a downward curl, twisted stems, and leaves that look stretched out and ribbon-like, that is classic herbicide injury. That happens when weed killers drift over from a nearby lawn. Neither of these are contagious.
Section 2. The prime suspect, Beet Curly Top Virus.
But what happens when it's not just the weather or a stray chemical? Most of the time, leaf curl is just adaptation. But when leaf curl becomes a red flag for a genuine distress call, you really need to pay attention. If your plant is otherwise healthy and setting fruit, the curl might just be environmental. But erratic twisting, coupled with severe stunting, yellowing, and a complete halt in fruit production, that means we have a real living infection on our hands.
This illustrates the kind of severe damage we're talking about in a tomato plant. Notice that extreme upward curling and the erratic twisting, especially right on the newest, youngest growth at the top. The leaves look incredibly rigid and distorted, and you can see a distinct yellowing starting to take hold. This kind of abnormal growth is a classic telltale symptom of a serious viral disease.
Enter our prime suspect, the Beet Curly Top Virus. This virus is absolutely notorious in arid and semi-arid regions, and it has a massive target list. It doesn't just go after tomatoes. It infects peppers, beans, spinach, hemp, and even various weeds. When this virus takes hold, it completely hijacks the plant's systems. You get that intense yellowing, severe stunting, those thick, leathery, twisted leaves, and worst of all for us, little to absolutely no fruit production. A total harvest killer. When this builds into a larger problem in an actual garden setting, the results are devastating. In a row of chili peppers, for instance, you can really see the field-level impact of the Beet Curly Top Virus. The plants end up severely stunted and incredibly yellowed compared to what should be a lush green canopy. They are effectively shut down. A viral infection like this doesn't just look bad, it completely ruins the economic and harvest value of the entire crop. Section 3. The Accomplice. Meet the leafhopper vector. Here is the critical piece of the puzzle. Viruses can't just move from plant to plant on their own. They don't have legs, and they don't blow in the wind like fungal spores. They need a getaway driver, an accomplice, to physically transport the infection and inject it directly into the plant cells.
Meet our prime accomplice, the beet leafhopper. This tiny, unassuming insect is the required vector for the beet curly top virus. When this leafhopper feeds on an infected plant, it ingests the virus. Then, when it jumps over to your healthy prized tomato plant for a snack, it transmits the virus right into the healthy tissue, kicking off the devastating cycle all over again.
And these accomplices don't just magically appear out of thin air. They actually overwinter and multiply in dense fields of mustard weeds, specifically things like London rocket and flicksweed. If these weedy areas are harboring both the insect and the virus, they act as a massive reservoir, just waiting to spill over into your garden the second the weather warms up.
Section 4. Integrated Pest Management, Solving the Case. We've identified our primary culprit, the virus, and its getaway driver, the leafhopper. Now that we know exactly how this crime is committed, we need to deploy actionable strategies to take back control of our gardens. This brings us to a foundational concept called integrated pest management, or IPM. IPM is a broad-based approach that combines cultural, biological, and sometimes chemical practices to control pests economically and safely. And the absolute most critical step in IPM is exactly what we just did today, accurately identifying the specific problem before taking any action. Because here is the harsh truth about viral diseases in plants. Once they're established inside the plant cells, they cannot be cured. No spray is going to fix it. So you must execute these IPM steps ruthlessly. First, immediately remove and destroy any infected plants so they don't serve as a source for the virus to spread. Second, aggressively manage and pull those mustard weeds around your property to destroy the leafhopper's hideout. And third, for next season, carefully select plant varieties that are actually bred to be tolerant or resistant to the curly top virus. At the same time, we want to keep our plants as healthy as possible to avoid those confusing abiotic copycat symptoms we talked about earlier. To prevent standard physiological leaf roll, make sure you maintain consistent, adequate soil moisture. Avoid dumping excessive nitrogen fertilizer on your plants, which can cause totally erratic growth. When the temperatures spike, try providing some shade to reduce heat stress. And finally, if you're growing indeterminate tomatoes, prune them conservatively so you don't shock the plant.
So to wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. We've seen how simple environmental stress can completely mimic devastating viral attacks. The next time a leaf curls in your garden, will you jump to conclusions and panic? Or will you grab your magnifying glass, check for leafhoppers, and solve the mystery yourself? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer. Now get out there and take back your garden.